Welcome to Talk Cosmos, the show where Sue Rose Minahan and her panel of guests bring you leading-edge astrology conversations through a journey of soul growth patterns connecting astrology's energetic cycles. Get ready to understand your path in the cosmic roots of the stars.
Hi, I'm Sue Rose Minahan and Talk Cosmos host and astrologer, and today is September 5th. We're starting a new month on the calendar, and we're in the month of Virgo here, and this is Leading Edge Conversations. And today I'm really thrilled to introduce an author interview, and it will be with Liz Muschett, who's also one of our panelists on and a member of the Moonbeam team. And she has written, co-authored with two other authors, a wonderful book, Gateways to Change 2018 and Beyond. It's the keys to navigating the seas of life using numerology and astrology. So Liz will represent her co-authors, Gloria Riley, who recently passed in August, and Jenny Sinclair's, the three of their collective work connecting the insights of numbers with astrology's wisdom. It's a trove of resourceful information, and it includes tables that compute your birth numbers. We will continue. I will tell you a little bit about our wonderful authors. Elizabeth, or Liz, as we often call her, Muschett, is a professional astrologer, numerologist, and intuitive tarot consultant, a counselor, a universal spiritual counselor. She teaches online classes, and she'll be telling about one, and you'll have a great opportunity to contact her about that and either receive the book and work with it. And she does energy work, craniosacral, polarity, a hypnotherapist. It's a Jin Shin. That was my tongue here. And a Reiki master teacher and trains. Her maternal grandmother guided her from a young age to develop and use her intuitive abilities. And she has an illustrious life here leading up to her astrology and energy work. She raised and showed Arabian horses, which opened animal communication. She was a captain on a day-to-day operations, the Sheraton boat charter. And a past member here or there, and I'm no longer in Washington, of the Washington State Astrology Association. And within her area on the peninsula, various locations, she has been the site astrologer. And for instance, in Everett, at the Vision Quest bookstore, which isn't quite on the peninsula, that's true, it's north of Seattle, did an astrology update. And you can contact Liz at Liz Muschett or a Light Path comment. Always at Talk Cosmos, I have all the guests, and you can find them there. Her co-author was Gloria Riley, who is also a professional numerologist, especially of Egyptian numerology, and a tarot and spiritual consultant, instructor. And she inherited, unfortunately, as one might say, or she inherited an eye disease causing blindness and became the author of a recent bestseller, Your Amazing Itty Bitty Guide for Adult 2020 Vision Loss, on the bestseller. Gloria passed this last month on August 19th. The co-author Jenny Sinclair, an intuitive tarot reader, numerologist, clairsentient, Theta healing practitioner with many illustrious qualifications, as she was on TV programs and had an international client and entertainment following, and is also featured on the nation's top psychics in the top 50 psychics and mediums in the U.S. 2016 edition. And you can find her at Jenny with an I, Sinclair.com. So I am really thrilled to have this opportunity to have Liz talk about this great book that she and her co-authors wrote, Gateways to Change, 2018 and beyond. Hi, Liz.
Hi, Sue. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
I'm really happy. And I'm just fascinated always by bringing in numbers with to strengthen to work together with astrology. So I would really like to know why you put them together in the book and how that works.
Well, I think that they complement each other greatly. And Jenny and Gloria had written this book in the early 2000s, and it ran out about 2012. And so they came up with the idea to republish. And they asked me to join the team, and it was great fun working on the project. The book has a nautical theme, which Gloria came up with. She had moved to Florence, Oregon, and really liked the idea of a nautical theme. As you know, there's many numerology books out there. And as she was losing sight, it was easier for her to do numerology, even though she was very interested in astrology. And so she came up with the nautical themes. And there's lots of charts to use in the book.
If I might add, yes, let's get into that a little bit. And if you could tell me perhaps you're leading to that, how numbers and astrology, and I guess that would be the factor of how they complement each other.
Yes, I find that they complement each other. I've studied numerology for many, many years along with astrology. And to me, it just gives an additional piece of information. You can also include the tarot. You can add colors. I mean, it's like a lot of the subjects are very complementary of each other, I believe. So I think it's really fun to work with them. And it's as sharing with people, it's a quick, fast way to do it. And this book, it's not how to do numerology so much as looking at the charts with your birthday. You just need to know the month and day that somebody's born. And you can come up with their yearly number, their monthly number, and their daily numbers. So that's, kind of fun because sometimes you don't know the year they're born that you would need in astrology, what city they're even born at and what time. So it's a simplified piece of information to add.
Well, it really will. I have the book, and it is filled with wonderful tables, as you had mentioned. And if you can because it is navigational, perhaps on page 7, I think you were saying there's some definitions, but perhaps just now, what are those terminologies and how, that analogy is, it's said. What is it?
Well, for the port of call, it's your yearly personal number. The treasure map is your monthly number, and the daily compass points are your daily numbers. So that's how the terminology interacts with that.
And I think thank you. You wanted to, I would love to see an example. And I think we agreed that you could do my chart if you want, if this is a good timing for you to
Sure. And
illustrate.
If Nathan can put up the chart for the yearly numbers, and I'll show you. And those that aren't watching the YouTube can't see it, but we have a chart here, and on the top column, the left column is the day you're born, and then going across the top is each month. And of course, you have to find the chart for the year, and these charts start out 2018 and go to 2099.
Oh.
But so for this one, we have the 2021 chart. And Sue has agreed to let us use her month and day, and she's born on June and on the 6th day. So her yearly number this year is an 8. And an 8 is about that your efforts and hard work that you've put in now bring rewards, bring things that you can look at, accomplishments. You can review if you want to continue on. And I know that we talked the other day that you would have been in a 4-year when you started Talk Cosmos, and that was a time of really putting in a lot of effort. And now we're at an 8-year for Sue, and her program has grown and gone from radio to YouTube. She has some chats on her YouTube channel. She has the program each week on YouTube. So her Talk Cosmos is really growing, and so is Sue.
Oh, this is so interesting, because to think of 2018 as a 4 number, which is the foundation, right? I know a little bit of astrology, so I had not ever known about this kind of a table to consider that relationship. That's very important. But this is an 8-year, because I have the panels. This is true. And I'm working now with Omari Martin, who was on earlier for Entrepreneurship on May 30th, and thought he had some wonderful gifts, as we know, of training. And so I'm working further on ideas how to market and a mission statement. So that all aligns, doesn't it, with 8? Fascinating.
It certainly does. That's wonderful that you're sharing that with your audience. I appreciate that, and I'm sure your audience appreciates that too. So we can go to the next chart and see what number you are in for this month. So we have on the left-hand columns the months, and on the right you'll use your port of call number. So you're at 8 for this year, and so we'll go down that column. For each month of the year, it tells you what number you're in. In September, you're also in 8. So this is a really good month to see your growth. And you are kind of reviewing and having a coach, so to speak. And next month will be a 9. So I would think that some of the work that you're doing this month and in previous months to this also, it's all coming together. Has it been coming together for you?
It is extraordinary, because there's so many levels to life, right? There's a personal life, there's in many capacities, and then there's this professional life that involves Cosmos and my work as a consultant. And I'm really working this month to edit the website and reconstruct, enlarge. I'm thinking of a campaign to do emails, which will involve free gifts, of course, an ebook of something. And interestingly, looking at 9, so this month is very work-oriented. It is. And for a 9, did you want to comment on that? Because I have some ideas right off. It's more completing a cycle, isn't it?
That's correct. So it's like you're finishing up. So having your consultant assist you and guide you, then it's like I would say for next month, you'll be putting those principles, if not before, into action to narrow things down. I know you personally, so I know that you've been working on a mission statement and what I call chunking it down, instead of having pages of what your mission statement is, which is certainly fine. But, kind of, really honing it down and getting to the point of how you want it to be.
And that'll be I know we'll talk about astrology later, but all those planets are going direct, which you've commented on, and it'll coincide. Isn't that amazing? But what I am thinking about, one idea that on a 9 level is that I'm moved to Hawaii in this last year, a year ago, and I'm finally going to be able to get both my Hawaiian identification ID and actually my driver's license transferred. So on just a personal level, I can see that culminating, and that'll be next month. So thank you, Liz.
Oh, you're welcome. And that's good. And then we can go to the next chart, and that'll show you the daily numbers. So September 5th is a 4 for you. So this is today would be a work day, a good day for you to do work. Tomorrow will be a 5 day on the new moon. And so that's a day of change. So perhaps go with the flow a little bit. That just kind of helps to see, because it's like how numbers add flavor to daily things and monthly and yearly.
And again, this is what they call the compass, which is the daily. So if a person couldn't remember, which any new language, kind of a poetry, which I love poetry and its analogy, but go back to page 7 or earmark it. And then after a while, you get the idea of what tables represent what. And there must be in the book information, of course, about these numbers so that you can then look at the number and say, oh, 5, now what is that? Or, oh, 4, what is that? So that you're learning in the same process.
Right. Like this is table 18 that we're talking about, and it says compass point for port of call 8. So you're in an 8 year. So you would use this chart for your daily numbers, where somebody else might be in a 7 year. So they'll use the port of call for 7. And then the next year would use the port of call for 8, because it builds it every year, 1, 2, 3 through 9. So every year you're switching. So you would use a different table. So you always have the table that you need for every year.
Sounds so wonderful. If you would like, is this a good time perhaps to give this example with the astrology, since tomorrow is our new moon of Virgo on the 6th, and during the archetypal period, with the sun in its sign, the new moon is beginning of the new seed. Unless you had some more that you wanted to discuss just about the numerology.
Well, pretty much I wanted to say that the book, the first half is numerology, and pretty much the second half is astrology. And so going into the moons, there's a space for each of the moon signs that gives you a paragraph or so about what the overall flavor is. So for the new moon coming up, tomorrow on September 6th, the moon's at 14 degrees and 38 minutes of Virgo, and I round up to the next number because in astrology we start with 0 and then it goes up to 29 and change, so I always bump it up. So it's 15 degrees, so a 1 plus 5 is 6. So for numerology wise, this new moon would be about family affairs, love, marriage, birth, death, family, and celebrations of all kinds. So family is a big focus for this new moon cycle, numerology wise. And if you want to know what the focus is, you can listen to last week's episode that we talked about the Virgo new moon on Talk Cosmos. That will give you the astrological information.
That's true. It was the Moonbeam team, which you are wonderfully a member of, along with Sarah Stromley and Catherine Metcalf. A 6. Well, I was born on 6. So actually, and I was born in June on a 6th month. So 6 is a big number for me.
Right. So it's like maybe you can resonate with those things are important to you, or you find ways that they become important for you. I mean, it's like sometimes if we don't have our own family, we find other people that we feel like we're family with. Like I have my astrology family that I connect with and feel very close to. I call a lot of, like you, my star sisters. So, that's how I do it. But then I also have my own family. So we can think of families in different ways. I think that's good. And then in the book, there's information on manifesting with the new moon, and there's affirmations with the new moon. So there's suggested technique. You could make it as in depth as you like, or as simple as you like. It'll say to have soft music, to have a candle, to have paper to write on, but you can make it really simple and just say something really quick. I suggest 3 to 5 focus points of what you would like to bring in for a new moon. Sometimes you can do 10, but I would try to keep it more concise, and lots of times you can combine them. So there's, a lot of extra information. Each new moon tide has a couple pages on it with a few affirmations and what that sign's moon is about. And then there's a new and full moon ephemeris with the new and full moons up to 2050. So Jenny and Gloria for sure wanted to make sure that this book was useful for many years to come, because the first book wasn't useful for many years to come. And this one's expanded a lot because there's a lot more astrology information in this book than the first book, even though the first book had astrology information, because Gloria loved astrology and Jenny likes astrology too. But for Gloria, numerology became more of a main focus later in years.
Liz, I'm just checking my book, which I have. I have it right here, this beautiful book. And it says here on page 206, the Virgo new moon tide, which I am a lover of poetry, so I really like that energy. And to me, once I realized that the tides were empowered by the sun and the moon, and Earth had the same ratio of body to fluid mass as Earth, about 72%, it was like, hey, that's doing something to me too. So at any rate, and it says here some affirmations. I accept, I let go, and I welcome the opportunity to discover the positive side of every situation. And I would imagine that's because Virgo is so involved always with perfection and making, reviewing and analyzing and distilling so that it can be healthy and it can be whole in order to take the self into the relationship of the next sign of Libra. So, or I am a good person and I accept myself exactly as I am. Love myself unconditionally. That's what I always say. A little tough, but if I can love a friend, how about loving myself, right?
Well, and Virgo can be self-critical or critical. So it's like, it's good to have the opposite point, all encompassing. And of course, these are all just suggestions to get the juices flowing for people to use as much as they like or not. Also, with the moon, there's a chapter about using the moon on the first day of the year of what sign it is in to have a flavor for that year. I also suggest that it could be used for the first day of the month. It could be used for new and full moons. It could be used for the seasons as we start seasons. So the new moon tide, I thought that I put this in my notes, but January 1st, the new moon was in Leo. So Leo has a big focus for 2021 of children, creativity, romance. Some, what about me? What about me? And then for September 1st, the moon was in Cancer. So that's a lot about family, security, nurturing. And I've been playing with this for a number of years. And it's, another way to add flavor, more information. It's like that could be a focus point. It could be what's the sign of the moon for each day as you enter the day. I mean, use it however you like and write and tell me how it worked out for you or how you enjoyed it.
Oh, Liz, this is so great. And for those people that want to write to Liz, it is at Liz Muschett, Muschett,
at gmail.com.
Thank you. Or a light path, that's Light. And always on Talk Cosmos, leading edge astrology conversations, and not just astrology, just conversations. This is numerology relating to it. And that's one of the ideas that we're expanding, because I've always, so in other words, you can find Liz, to finish that sentence, Sue, at Talk Cosmos. But yeah, and I was going to comment that, yes, this is really a great beginning of for leading edge conversations that really bring in dimensions. Because weren't you also, just to finish up with, when I met Omari for our first appointment, I mean, I've talked to him before, but when I started our subsequent engagements, it was on the 2nd of September. And you indicated that was a one day for me, which is going to this year, 2021. And my birth date on that going down the line, that the 2nd would have been a one day.
Right. A good day to start something new. So it was like, you could have worked with the numbers to pick that day, but it just happened that you started on a one day. So that's fantastic to accomplish, because I know you've been working on some of these goals for a little while, because I know you. So for it to be coming together and to put it into motion and start on a one day, that's fantastic.
Yeah. I really appreciate this validation, and clarity is the way I see it, because we can move with our intuitions and gut and just necessity, and whether it's before or after, to be able to see the purpose involved, add some strength. So thank you so much, Elizabeth Muschett. And I want to thank our wonderful audience for joining us, because we're going to return and we have a little bit of announcements to make. And you're listening to Talk Cosmos on September 5th with Liz Muschett, an author of Gateways to Change. And we will be back very soon. So thank you so much.
While we take a break from this week's edition of Talk Cosmos, let's take a look at this cycle's archetype. We are currently in the yin period of Virgo. By leaving a cycle based on the creative manifested legacy of our highest creative form, the energy of Virgo completes the last sign below the horizon of the self and requires discernment to perfect oneself through the mental process of critical analysis. As a mutable earth sign duly ruled by Mercury, Virgo refines, heals, or fixes through daily routines, developing skills and services to control nature's chaos and maximize efficiency.
Old world travelers never began a journey without a compass. And today, smart travelers won't leave home without a map or GPS to navigate the journey ahead. But when it comes to your journey through life, how do you get your guidance? By aligning numerology and astrology's wisdom. Combining numerology with astrology offers a great spectrum of insightful meaning for your personal yearly, monthly, and daily numbers. And to help you navigate these numbers to discover your best daily route, numerologist Liz Muschett, along with Gloria Riley, an Egyptian numerologist, and intuitive consultant Jenny L. Sinclair, have co-authored the book Gateways to Change 2018 and Beyond. Keys to navigating the seas of life using numerology and astrology. In addition to the book, Liz is also hosting a Gateways to Change workshop this fall, which complements the book to guide you to your life's journey and explore how to use the resources offered in the book. Copies of the Gateways to Change are included in the registration fee. The Gateways to Change book is now available to order on Amazon, and to register for the workshop, you can contact Liz at her website, alightpath.com, or send her an email at Liz, L-I-Z, Muschett, M-U-S-C-H-E-T-T, @gmail.com. Let Liz be your compass as you continue your journey here on Earth.
Talk Cosmos brings you leading-edge astrological conversations with hour-long programs each week on KKNW. The show goes live every Sunday from 1 to 2 p.m. Pacific. Talk Cosmos weekly programs are also available to watch live on Facebook and YouTube, along with daily chats throughout the week on the Talk Cosmos YouTube channel. While you're there, make sure you click like and subscribe buttons so you can get the full Talk Cosmos experience. Or, if you'd rather listen to the show archives with audio only, the entire podcast collection since 2018 is available on most podcast carriers. So, grab your coffee, tea, or kombucha, and enjoy the show.
This is Carol Dimitrov, intuitive astrologer, and you're listening to Talk Cosmos on Alternative Talk 1150 AM, where we unveil astrology's ancient archetypes that continually build the collective experiences in our unconsciousness.
Miss a show on KKNW? Check out 1150kknw.com for podcasts of many of our programs. That's 1150kknw.com.
Hello, we are back again, and I just noticed the chat because I'm so grateful that somebody had come into chat, because I wanted to mention that you can, if you're looking at YouTube, you can enter a chat, or you can call the station, and perhaps, Nathan, you can put that number up. But I think there is a question that was asking if we're doing a reading. No, we're not doing a reading right now. However, you can absolutely contact Liz, and she does consultations. That's who she is, on using numerology and tarot and astrology. And I personally have had theirs, and I can recommend her 1,000%. So you can, either go to Talk Cosmos, find her website, or jot it down today. But there's another question that she said: how would my tarot learning experience be, and how will it impact my life and those around me? Have ordered tarot and card, because we're not specifically doing tarot for today, but of course tarot is very involved in a sense, Liz. So I'm not sure if she has more questions, and she can contact you. But if other people have questions, do write them in, or else, as I say, call the station. And Nathan will jot it down and let us know what it is. So in a sense, that did pique my interest. Her question with what I had been thinking was that, because many times when one does, oracle cards are also a very supportive way to get information. And it's akin, similar, I might say, to looking at the moon sign for like the year, which fascinates me. The fact that you brought it up for 2021 would be in Leo, because this year has been in this sense of COVID. How is this relating to me, and how am I as a person all through the news going to be able to participate again with my family, with my friends, with my job, at my home, in my city? We go like a roller coaster up and down and around, because we're in this big transition of years, actually. And it is, for many purposes, I think, again, going to the analogy of life, there is that great, whether it was actually said from the Hopi tribe, councilmen, elders, but the essential message is, this is the time that you've been waiting for, and really is to become this person that we are, so that we may participate, rather than always looking to the others.
To go on with the Leo influence of the children, it's like children, they've had to come up with different ways to have the kids in school and teach the children, and children haven't been able to get the vaccine. Some children weren't getting it at first. At first it was like elderly people were getting COVID, and then so children really have been highlighted, and it's like, how do we deal with this? And so that's been a big focus. I think there's a lot of concern for children, especially right now that schools are opening up. So that's another theme that rolls through. How do parents work and still have their children? How does that all work?
Absolutely. And if we look at, yes, children and education, because I think there is this sense of fifth house is the education of children. And so interesting, because with astrology, we have the lunar nodes, which are these points between the orbital path of the moon with the sun. That's an 18-month measurement of where we've come from, as it's and where it's ascending towards northward, as our whole solar system, I'm saying this to just catch everybody up with why we're saying this, the whole solar system is going northward. We're going towards the north. It's determined. And so, in other words, we're in this towards, in Gemini, where we're going towards learning and education, so much Sagittarius and Gemini. So it really combines, again, as a reiteration or a support system.
Right, because just adding more information and combining it, sometimes it can be too much to combine, but then oftentimes it's like the pieces that go together and come up with a combination. It's great. For those people that maybe just tuned in, we're talking about numerology and astrology, and the first half of Gateways to Change is about numerology and using your yearly, monthly, and daily numbers. And then we're talking about the new moon and what it had to offer, and now we're going to go to the full moon. Is that okay?
Oh, good. I love that. Thank you, Liz. Yes, because that's later in the month, I think. Go ahead.
It's a Pisces full moon on September 20th at 28 degrees and 14 minutes. So I'm bouncing that up to a 29. So a 2 plus 9 equals an 11. And as we may know or may not know, 11 is a master number. And if you break the 11 down, the 1 plus 1 is a 2. So 11 is a higher octave, and it comes with more responsibility and leadership and stepping up. And 2 is about partnerships, patience, and women and women issues. So, that's kind of exciting too. So we go from the new moon that's a 6 around family to the full moon that's an 11-2. It feels like change is happening. So like our family, how important is our family? What do we want to do for and with our family? I know that people are moving closer to their families. People are getting bigger houses. People are downsizing. I mean, there's like, for each individual, there's different things going on. And so I've always believed that we all have something to teach other people because we have a piece of information that somebody else doesn't have. And it doesn't matter if you're an expert in something. It could be cooking. It could be how to garden. I mean, there's all kinds of things that we might have a piece of information. So to me, that 11, that leadership of sharing that information, maybe how to prune a tree, the trees that need to be pruned in the fall, and somebody else doesn't know how to do it. So you could share how to do that. Maybe the 2 is connecting with other people, reaching out to other people, a phone call. It could be any number of things. It could be a Zoom meeting. Not everybody does Zoom. It could be maybe your neighbor can't get out. Maybe you could offer to pick up some groceries for them. They pay for it and then you pick it up, or it could be any number of ways. So it's just another added piece of information. I wanted to also say that you had, I believe, Jason Elsey on, and he talked about astrology with numerology. And I don't remember, I think it was a little more than a month ago, so people could listen
4th.
to that. Okay. Oh, good.
Yeah.
People could listen to that show too to find out more of combining the astrology and numerology. Not a lot of people do it, but there are people that do it. So it's kind of interesting to hear about it, I think. So
it's very true. I think Justin did a lot about Sabian symbols, which you also, of course, study because you are involved with numbers and the moon and astrology. And because of that, and which you already knew about, but I was unaware of, we're now with the Moonbeam team doing the 3, the karma number for the full moon, the Sabian number, and the quest number, which is so fascinating. This triad always, it's like before, during, present, and after. In other words, what leads, because life has that cycle. We're in the moment, but of course it had a little prior history, the whole collective baggage, you might say, or collection of luggage, or just the factors that are prominent. situation that led up to the moment, and then where our intention wants to lead us, and that would be the quest. So, yes, I'm glad you brought him up.
Well, it's like interesting how we can combine so many different things, and it just adds more information. It's like, you have to start out basic, but then as you move along and you're studying things, it's like really nice to add in other things, and maybe you'll resonate with the Sabian symbol, which Elsie Wheeler channeled in San Diego. I believe it was over 2 days. Mark Edmonds Jones wrote more in depth about each one that she had channeled to him. And there's 1 degree for every degree of the zodiac, 360. So there's a little saying that goes along with that. And Linda Hill did the quest symbol and the karma symbol. So the karma symbol is the degree before the degree of the moon or the new moon. And it could be the sun degree. It could be even where Mars is today. I mean, you could use it for all of it. And then the quest degree is what's coming next. So it's, really, it's really cool, all the things that have been added and that we can use. So back to the full moon tides. In the book, there's a definition for each of the 12 moons. There's a full moon technique for releasing and letting go. And the full moon dates up to 2050, an ephemeride with that. So there's lots of information in here to add for everything. I find it really interesting how it all came together.
Well, and this workshop that you have will really bring this life functioning. And I think you have a workshop format, and the class will be getting sometime, I guess, in October. But by people contacting you, you'll get on the list and then understand when that actually is going to be in time to get their book and.
Right. I just haven't decided the date. And if people contact me, then I can kind of send them a couple of dates to see what works best. And we'll do the class on Zoom. You get a workbook with it. I forget. I keep working on it, so it keeps growing, the little workbook that I've made, but it'll be emailed to you to print out to work along as we go. So you'll have your own personal pages to work on.
That's fabulous. So there'll be that with the book. So people will absolutely get the book, or they'll need the book, and that purchase part. But go ahead. Yes.
Well, yeah. And if you already have the book, then I'll adjust the registration fee. Or if you just want to buy the book, you can buy it on Amazon, as we've mentioned before, Gateways to Change, Navigating the Seas of Life Using Numerology and Astrology. Other things in the book that are added, there's Mercury's backspin and Murphy's Law. There's Mercury retrograde dates up to 2050. There's also a chapter on the interconnection between astrology, numerology, and tarot, and it's mostly the correspondences of them. And then there's personal health cycles for each day of the year, so you can look at what day you were born and see what potential health cycles you might have. And then numerology for your house. So if your house could talk, what would it tell you? So you can add the numbers together and see what your house is. And if your phone could talk, what would it say? And again, add up the numbers of your phone number to see what numbers you come up with. And there's lucky numbers and lucky days, other information in the book. And there's even more. It's like packed full of all kinds of cool information. And I know you've been looking at it. So do you have any other questions about the book?
Well, it is really, I love some of the ephemeris in a sense, because you do have, like, I thought, gee, I haven't been using this even for the Moonbeam team, because it says right here, well, I have other ephemeris for that, but the very fact of this description of what the energies of these powerful moons are, because the moon is that reflection of the sun. Well, let's play with some numbers in the sign of the sun. In other words, like we have a Virgo new moon tomorrow,
Mhm.
but it's reflecting the sun of that's in Virgo. So this is really a powerful time of Virgo. And in the seed time, you can't see it. It's because this Earth is in a position where it's blocking the reflection from the moon, because the moon doesn't emit its own light. It's a yin, it's receiving, it's receiving and reflecting. So those intentions matter. And then in the full moon, which is always in the opposite sign for its orbital path, will be in Pisces, is reflecting Virgo, that Virgo light still. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
So if we took today, the sun would be 1 degree prior to where it is going to be tomorrow. So today's a 5-day of change. So it's a possibility plans could change. It's a possibility, things just go with that flow, because it's like maybe you were going to sit in your pajamas all day and it's like you need to go, do something with somebody or take them something, or and instead of being upset, just go with the flow of helping somebody, perhaps. But it's lots of times in a 5-day, it's things aren't so much set in stone. It's like be prepared to make adjustments.
Yeah, it seems from what I know of numerology, because I find it so fascinating too, our whole world, we have the golden mean, we have pi, the circumference of a circle, which is a never-ending number. But the golden mean, Leonardo da Vinci knew, and all the great artists follow this ratio. The spiral goes in that ratio. It's a blueprint of the universe, and it's numerical. And so get it together here, Sue. I went way off into the infinite there, didn't I?
Well, and there's a reference chart with the astrological signs and houses. There's a reference chart about the numbers. So just a quick, in a nutshell, a number 1 is about new beginnings, and it's maybe being around men, perhaps, or masculine type energy. And I know that we're all changing that, because
or assertive.
Right. Assertive would be a good one. Yang. And a 2 is about partnerships, balance. It's more, lots of times being around women, but it can be yang or yin. We're going to do that one, yin.
Receptive.
And then, right. And then a 3 is, can be a gathering of getting together and having a celebration that's a short celebration. It could be just doing a Zoom call with a couple friends. It could, you could be getting together in person. I'm not sure. A 4 oftentimes is a day that work and effort is required. A 5-day is change.
Is 4, if I might say, like a foundation? Because it like 4 cornerstones?
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Okay.
Absolutely. Building that foundation, shoring up if it's sinking, or maybe fixing something that you thought was going to work, but you need to make adjustments now to it. The 5-day or a 5 is about change. And I always say, go with the flow, because if you fight it, it doesn't help. 6 is about family, mostly. 7 is a day that to take time for yourself. Oftentimes you would really like to have a quiet day. And 8-day is starting to see your efforts pay off or show results. And the 9 is endings or finishing up projects to begin again. So like every 9 days, we get to begin again. Every 9 months, we get to begin again. Every 9 years, we get to begin again. So it's just this cycle that repeats and repeats and repeats.
It's like a baby being born, gestation too. Yeah.
Yes, it goes with the 9 months. It's like so interesting how different things correlate that way. So
Yeah, very true. I will, since this is a pause, just mention that next week on Talk Cosmos Leading Edge Conversations, we have the ongoing panel members, Planet Buzz. And tonight I am with Liz Muschett, an author interview with her book, Gateways to Change 2018 and Beyond, a navigation to, let's see, I almost have it memorized here. Keys to navigating the seas of life using numerology and astrology. And you can order this book on Amazon. She co-authored with Gloria Riley, who just passed August 19th, and Jenny Sinclair, who is one of the top psychic mediums noted in the USA. And Liz is a consultant, astrology, numerology, tarot, and intuitive consultant. And you can see her bio at Talk Cosmos, as all of our guests. And you can contact her directly and get participating. Is that a good sentence? I don't know. But to participate on this upcoming workshop that will involve this book, using it for your daily life and also using it with understanding astrology's, numbers. As we've seen, it has so many dimensions involved, and we've covered a bit today. And I think, so I really appreciate we've done the new moon and the full moon and my chart, which I am so happy I'll keep working. Yeah, but today I'm going with the flow.
Well, and you can pick up the book, and you could be with a few friends and do all their numbers. It's like super simple. Just pick it up, go to the correct chart, and you're right there, instead of trying to do it with pencil and trying to add the numbers, and then you make a mistake. It's like super simple. And it can be a lot of fun for your family members, your friends. You can pick it up and then lay it down for a while and pick it up again.
I have a question. If I'm looking at my address, like I have my condo number and then I have the street number. So I could do both numbers. I could add my condo number and then I could add the street number, or I could add both of them together. Yep. I mean, anything's possible. Okay. So, oh gosh. So my street number adds to a 4 and my house number my condo number adds to a 3.
Okay.
And then together, of course, it's 7. Which is a lot of retreating. Yeah, I retreat in here.
Well, but then I could say that if your condo number is a 3, inside of it, it's like brings you joy. 3 brings joy.
True. More and more every day, thankfully.
And then your address totals up to a 4. So there could be work and effort involved.
Lots of work.
But I know. And then you add it together and you have a 7, and it's like a retreat place.
Yes, it is. It is.
You can go out on your balcony and look out at the ocean.
I just bought 2 gardenias, my husband's favorite, and one is prolific, and it feels like a little garden now, and I'm so happy. Liz, this has just been fascinating. People do realize, there was an inquiry how to get a hold of Liz. That's Liz, Liz Muschett. Oh, there she is. Boy, thank you, Nathan, our wonderful soundboard engineer with KKNW AM radio here in Seattle, Washington, Bellevue. Well, this has been wonderful fun.
Oh, I've enjoyed it. So do you have any more questions? Because I'm trying to think what else I could tell you.
Well, the retrogrades, it's coming up. It's coming up, isn't it? It's going to be on the 26th of the month, a few weeks away. I think it's the 26th.
Mercury retrograde.
Yeah, Mercury retrograde, which is going to be in the next archetypal period with the sun in Libra, when we'll have these relationships. Any rate, it'll be there, and we can talk about that later. But, I think maybe what we ought to do is consider bringing a little numerology again into our Moonbeam team conversations.
That would be fun.
Yeah,
because we can add the number for the moon, and you can do it with the sun every day too. And if you know a lot about astrology, you can do it for every planet. If you like, some planets don't move very fast.
Well, on Talk Cosmos, just to let people know, please go there and subscribe. And you'll get all these updates when we have our panels and when we have every month a special guest appearance. Liz was one of ours today, but at the bottom of that page is one of the planetary transits, and you'll see immediately what the day is, and you can check it out. So that's another resource. And there's other resources too. There's one in the resources about moons and also about what planets are visible. Well, how exciting, Liz. I'm going to start researching all my numbers and
good.
Again.
Well, and if you want to be on my email list, you can go to alightpath.com, ALIGHTPATH.com, and sign up for my newsletter that goes out weekly with astrology, numerology, and tarot tidbits.
I love your new website. I hope people look at that too. All right. Blessings, and thank you everybody for listening. We do love you very much. Till again.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on Talk Cosmos, the show where Sue Rose Minahan and her panel of guests connect soul growth patterns with the energetic cycles of astrology. Be sure to tune in next Sunday at 1 p.m. Pacific Time to continue your journey through the roots of the cosmic pathway.